I want to talk to you about NFC and contactless payments, and I want to explain the whole concept. And so here are the generalities I want you to pay attention to. When you think about NFC, when you think about contactless payments, I want you to think about convenience. I want you to think about affordability, but I want you to think also about accountability. Okay. So most transactions in the world today are contactless, believe it or not. And people do their big spending online and just tap away at anything under $100, in some cases more, in person. Now, gas, groceries, snacks, quick purchases, or have you, like this, have they're all made easy thanks to credit cards and some built-in technology, the NFC or the EMV. Okay, so when you think about all this, this is really made possible because of NFC, near field communication. So most people refer to NFC payments as a tap and pay or simply tap because of the tap in motion cardholders perform on a credit card terminal during the transaction. Pretty straightforward, right? So what is really NFC? Well, NFC is a highly secure electronic transmission that allows funds to pass from your bank to a retailer in exchange for a product or service. Pretty straightforward here as well, okay? And although most consumers like you and me don't see the simple prompt and approval message, don't see beyond that message, there's a lot going on behind the scenes enabling you to make that purchase through a POS system. So with NFC, customers no longer need to enter their PIN or provide a signature, but these transactions are generally considered more secure because they use the same technology infrastructure that EMV or chip and PIN employs. So how does NFC work? Really, the answer is the answer actually can be found in RFID. So for starters, RFID, radio frequency identification. For starters, your credit card is actually emitting radio frequency signals to tell a card terminal that's there. Don't worry, when we say near field, we really mean really near, like 4 to 3 to 1 or even 2 centimeters near, which is why you don't walk into, let's say, a Best Buy and accidentally buy 10 or 12 TVs, right? So in addition to the distance requirements, there's something else going on. This card signals, the card signals that the signals have to be activated by another chip inside the card reader and are encrypted before they pass through the air. That is to say that your bank info is not floating around unprotected. So this encrypted message is unique to your card and unique to each transaction. So only your bank can decode it. So this is really good. And these transmissions are actually so secure that you can be more worried about bad guys nabbing the cash out of your pocket or stealing your information over unsecured Wi-Fi as opposed to stealing your credit card number over over the airwaves. So when you think about NFC, is the whole thing secure? I mean, let's talk about security here. Now, making a payment through your mobile device for the first time can be intimidating, that's for sure. However, one thing I want to tell you is that NFC is really secure, pretty solid, pretty secure technology, especially when used properly. Now, here are a few things that I want you to really keep in mind to actually buttress NFC security. First, you have short range. Then you have encryption. You have authentication. You have secure elements. And then you have data integrity. So when I speak about short range, NFC really operates within a very short range, usually 2 to 3 or sometimes 4 centimeters. I'm speaking here about 1 to 1.5 inches, which makes it very difficult for unauthorized users to intercept the communication. You also have encryption. So many NFC-enabled devices and applications use encryption to protect the data being transmitted. This adds an extra layer of security against eavesdropping and tampering. You also have authentication. So some NFC applications, such as mobile payments, require user authentication, that like entering a PIN using fingerprint recognition before a transaction is completed. This helps ensure that only authorized users can make transactions. You also have secure elements. So NFC devices also include a secure element, aka a dedicated chip that stores sensitive data and performs cryptographic operations. This really enhances the security of transactions and data storage. So that's really fantastic there. And you also have data integrity. That this is also another important criterion. So NFC protocols include mechanisms to ensure the integrity of the data being transmitted, reducing the risk of data corruption or alteration during communication. Okay. So while NFC is, let's say, is generally secure, It's important to use it when you want to use it with trusted devices and applications. Keep your device's software up to date and be cautious of potential threats such as NFC skimming or malicious tags. You also have this sort of problem. Okay, so taking these precautions will help you enjoy the convenience of NFC while minimizing security risks. So that's important. So when you think about NFC and RFID, is it the same thing or you have some kind of difference here? Well, NFC near field communication and RFID radio frequency identification are both wireless communication technologies used for data exchange, but they have some key differences. Okay, first of all, you have the range. Range is an important element. So basically, the first big difference between NFC and RFID is the range, especially the number of centimeters, the number of inches. Simply put, NFC operates at a very short range, typically up to a 4 centimeter, like centimeters, 1.6 inches. RFID, however, can function at various ranges depending on the type of system implemented. You have an RFID being used in warehouses, being used at commercial events, and so on and so forth. So the range. The second difference here is communication. Okay, so NFC supports two-way communication, allowing both devices to send and receive information. RFID is typically used for one-way communication. This technology is best used for tracking and identification, like inventory management and asset tracking. That's what I was just telling you a little earlier, that you see this being used a lot in the supply chain and supply chain models in inventory at warehouses. The third difference actually lies in applications. So despite the similarities between these two technologies, the way they are applied is quite different. NFC is actually commonly used in contactless payment systems like Apple Pay and Google Wallet. Okay, whereas like you also have electronic ticketing, access control, and data sharing between devices. RFID, on the other hand, is widely used for inventory management, supply chain logistics, pet microchipping, toll collection, and access control in various industries. In other words, if you have a need to have a one-way communication, you go with the RFID. So in summary, while NFC and RFID share some underlying technology, they are used for different purposes and have distinct characteristics. NFC is ideal for secure, short-range communication and interactive applications, whereas RFID is better suited for longer-range tracking and identification tasks. Let me talk to you about the taxes here. So, how do you accept contactless payments this year? Okay, I mean, it's becoming increasingly common for customers to pay with digital wallets and other payment methods, such as contactless chip card, right? Now, let's talk about the debit card, and I'll talk about credit cards also. So, when you think about debit cards can still be used to make a contactless purchase with tap to pay. However, some financial institutions, such as credit unions and also some regional banks, do not offer NFC enabled card or mobile wallet options such as Apple Pay or Google Pay yet. So maybe that will change maybe in the next 2 to 3 years or the next 5 years. That will change, especially during COVID. A lot of institutions all of a sudden they woke up and say, "Oh wow, we need to really revamp our contactless payment model." But it will probably come, but it's still at a stage where we wished it was faster. Debit cards that have credit rails, meaning they have the MasterCard or Visa symbol on the card, can be used similarly to credit cards for digital wallet payments, therefore can be used to tap and pay. However, if you process a physical debit card, it will be processed as a normal debit card and can require a PIN. You also have credit cards. So credit cards such as Visa card and MasterCard, they offer more options for customers to make contactless payments. And so the cool thing is that online banking makes it easy to load cards into mobile wallets or copy and paste credit cards details into apps. It's one of those things where you have to really make sure that you have the proper technology, but it's totally possible to actually use, let's say, a tap and pay with credit cards, with debit cards, and so on and so forth. One thing I want to say here is that it also depends on the geography. There are slight differences between the US and Canada, for instance, There are slight differences between the U.S. and Europe. There are slight differences between the U.S. and Australia or New Zealand. Okay, so it's one of those things where your geography will play an important role in terms of the kind of technology you have access to. But one thing for sure, whether you go for NFC or another type of contactless payments, you have to always think that you are pursuing accountability, you are pursuing also safety, and you're pursuing convenience. So when you think about the credit cards, the debit cards, and all that kind of facility, you have to really understand that this whole thing makes it very easy than ever to tap and pay because you have the card and you give the convenience, you give the customer the convenience to do the things that she or he has to do. So it's very easy than before. It's very easier than before to tap and pay, whether through a tokenized card or through a mobile app, which might allow customers to rack up and redeem rewards for certain businesses. In today's age, and that's one thing what we have seen in our investigation, consumers use contactless technology because of convenience, right? Because of speed too. Because you do not want to actually waste 1 hour in a line just simply because you have to wait for like at the checkout for somebody to verify your bank ID. No, so consumers use contactless technology to pay for everything from public transit fare to lunch. Okay, now a contactless enabled payment terminal is all a business needs to accept contactless payments. Nothing really complicated here. You do not need to have a big POS or a sophisticated POS to make things happen. No. And so a cashier would run a transaction through the card reader as usual, and the customer can bring his or her contactless payment enabled credit card, mobile wallet, or wearable device to the terminal to pay. So that's how fast the whole thing can be. Okay, and so after a few seconds, the contactless symbol will appear, and the terminal will process the tokenized payment information and actually send it through to the right banks and card networks to process the transaction. So that's pretty much what it is. What about tap to pay on iPhone? Well, tap to pay on iPhone enables businesses to seamlessly and securely accept Apple Pay, contactless credit cards, contactless debit cards, and other digital wallets simply by using an iPhone and a partner-enabled iOS payment app. So this is really it tells you a lot how fast the whole transaction can go through. Fantastic. So let me talk to you about the benefits here. So I mean, when you really think about NFC and contactless payments, basically you have three main benefits why tap and pay is really awesome, especially this year. Okay, so you have faster transactions, you have acceptance of walletless customers, and then you have secure transactions. These secure transactions are so critical, especially if you travel a lot and you care about the security of your data. You will love the chip and pay here. So faster transactions. Why? Well, compared to payments made with cash or chip and PIN cards, payment made using tap are significantly faster because you don't have to wait for a customer to key in their PIN or search for cash. This helps customers complete their transactions quickly and allows you to actually help the next customer faster, right? So if you are a business owner, if you are an entrepreneur, if you're a store owner, whether you have an online store or a brick and mortar store, you will love that speed, that facility here. So you also have acceptance of walletless customers. So basically, not everybody wants to really carry cash around. I mean, we live in a pretty dangerous world, and you do not want to really fall prey to. You do not want to fall victims to like a pickpocket or whatever. All right. So, I don't carry cash. Maybe you don't as well. I mean, a lot of folks don't carry cash anymore. Okay, so basically, if you are in a walletless sort of environment, you will love the tap and pay sort of strategy. Many customers are now adding their debit and credit card information to their mobile devices using Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay, and other alternative payment methods. So to be able to accept this customers' payments, you need to have a payment terminal that accepts tap. Okay, you have to have the tap functionality, otherwise you can't really accept those payments. One thing I want to say also is that when you think about the convenience, when you think about the geography, when you think about the demographics, you have to really account for the boost in revenue, your ability to make it easy for customers to pay, your ability to actually facilitates the whole transaction, the whole process to customers. You are able to actually improve things real fast, improve like in a sustainable manner, and that's what you need to have anyway. You need to have this sustainability sort of mindset from the get-go. Another benefits when you think about NFC and contactless payments, I've said this before, but I want to insist on it. You are talking about transaction security. I mean, transaction safety, data safety, data tokenization. I mean, those are important elements. NFC technology ensures that tap and pay transactions are secure from A to Z. I'm talking about from A to Z, okay? Both Visa and MasterCard require the customer to hold the card within 4 centimeters of the card reader for the transaction to go through. 4 centimeters, 1.6 inches, okay? Now, the transactions also include a unique security code for each transaction to protect against fraud, right? So if a hacker or a bad actor were to actually intercept the transaction, he or she would not be able to use the data. Finally, cardholders also have protection for their purchases from the card providers. So you have this sort of a double layer or triple layer of protection, and that really comes back to the consumer. So that's really fantastic. One thing I want to say also is that the kind of protection I'm talking about here, that protection applies across the board. So it doesn't matter whether you are in the States or you are in Nigeria, you are in China, you are in Brazil. As long as you tap and pay, and the merchant has the proper terminal, the proper, let's say, technology, the proper terminal, the proper equipment, you should be able to tokenize. You should be able to protect the transaction from A to Z. Okay. So overall, when you think about it, NFC is making our lives easier every day through a range of payment methods, including wearable payments technology. In addition, radio frequency technology helps facilitate secure transactions, so you don't need to worry about compromising on security just to tap your credit card. You have the possibility to actually get things done in a very secure way. Now, the thing is that, of course, simply because NFC and RFID and other technologies, other similar technologies are very safe, doesn't mean that you, as a user, you have to really forget about the basic steps of let's say prevention. Okay, you always have to be cautious. Always have to take the basic steps to protect your data, to safeguard your data. But overall, you have a pretty strong technology that can really buttress your security whenever you are engaged in the transactions. So here's a quote. And to this conversation, I spoke to you about NFC and contactless payments. I give you the generalities, the tactics, the benefits, and now the quote out. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.